This is the Hero Hour on the Approved Home Pro Show, making energy efficiency easy and affordable for you, the homeowner. For more information, go to approvedhomepros.com/hero or call 844-GO-4-HERO. That's 844, the number 4, GO-4-HERO. Did I just screw that up, Greg? Did I just say that right? 844-GO-4-HERO. That's what I'm trying to say. There we go.
Good job, Clint.
Wow. One job is to talk, and I can't get that right. We have Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air in studio, Mary Jean Anderson, with our hero highlight today. Now, for those that don't know, you've been around for a long time as a company, but what do you offer?
Plumbing, heating, air conditioning, residential and commercial, service, repair, replacement, and maintenance. I love to get that word out there, maintenance, because maintenance is so important.
And a very pretty picture on the side of the truck. It's very nice.
Our pink and white.
All right. So, Greg, I know we're going to be talking to Mary Jean about this today, but really about how often women make these decisions for home improvement projects.
Well, I think we're in a great time because people are so much more educated. They do their research online, and including women. And so, Mary Jean, what was the turning point where you realized that you needed to speak to women and that they were primarily calling your number?
Well, when I originally started, it was just the opposite. I was told, I can't talk to you. This is about plumbing. I need to talk to a man. So I've watched from the late 70s, and I saw a trend. I saw things changing. And I realized that in Spanish, la casa, it's female. The female runs the home, and women were becoming more empowered to do so. So I just did a 6-month checkup and started looking at who was actually signing the checks. And it was 78. Back then, there weren't a lot of credit cards. I'm talking, it was a while back.
Right.
78% back then were women. And I realized we really have to focus on the woman. This is what who's making the decision in the home. And there we went.
Well, and I realized, too, that we were losing opportunities because we were trained to have both parties before we would go out to, give a quote, and then later realize that sometimes it's, people aren't making decisions always on the first call, and you need to educate and you need to be willing to speak to the woman of the house, because a lot of times the husband is out working and he comes home and then they gather together and make the decision collectively.
And most men do defer. We talked about this off break, and we were talking about when it comes to the home, men defer to the women. And so you really need to, and that's what we're here today, to talk to women about how do you get things right? How do you make sure you're getting all the information?
And I have to apologize because I kind of profiled here both men and women work, and even so, the women usually make the call.
They still do, right? Even though they're both working.
We want to point this out as well. Guys, it is a collective decision in your home. Maybe you and your wife have had the decision that the man makes the decision. But again, that's still a collective decision, right, to make it happen like that. So we don't want you to feel like you're not part of this, because there are still men who make that decision. But I was shocked today to learn, you said again, 78%?
For our company, it's 78%.
Wow. I mean, that is just a huge number. What are the most important tips for women, when they want to feel empowered about home improvement decisions?
I think actually for men and women, because we all as contractors get into routine. And so we will speak the plumbing or heating and air language and not the language that's broken down. So I think for both, really, but really for both, is to ask questions. Give me more about, what does that term mean? I've never heard that term.
Right?
Break it down for me. Yeah,
and
exactly.
Not just give a big price and make it mysterious or highly technical so someone doesn't understand, and then they worry too. I mean, there's that fear that sometimes is done in sales that is just really bad.
The intimidation of this person, this trained person coming into your home and speaking to you about it, and then they get into their terms, and you think, well, I should know that, so I'm not going to say a word. I'll just pretend, or I should understand this.
Because they're embarrassed.
Don't go there. Yeah, don't go there. Women out there, men out there, say, excuse me, tell me more.
I have to questions. Do that a lot. You hear me doing it on this show. In fact, as we started this show, I remember 3.5 years ago, Sean and Heather, they go, hey, do you want to host the Approved Home Pro Show? I go, yeah, but I don't know anything about home improvement. And they go, well, that's why we want you, so you can ask the questions that the pros may not think to ask because they already know them. So don't be afraid to ask these questions.
And I know there's no dumb questions, but what should a homeowner, what questions should they ask? What are red flags that they should look for when they're getting a quote?
When they won't break it down for you, when they try to use a scare tactic, like if you don't do this, the house is going to burn down, or and ask those questions and then have them put it in writing, because sometimes they'll speak something to you. And if they're unscrupulous, if they're not doing, they may brush over something that will scare you, but make them put it in writing. Everything has to be in writing.
And don't ever feel intimidated, right?
Yeah, you can't feel intimidated. You absolutely cannot. And women shouldn't feel that way. We are empowered these days. We need to not feel intimidated and go for it.
Yeah, it's just so weird. I love that you're talking about this, Mary Jane, because I have in the past not asked important questions that bit me later because I felt guilty, like I was overstepping a boundary to ask a pro. Let's even say like you. I felt like I feel like telling him I don't trust him if I ask this question. Like, what's the maximum this could cost me? That's a hard question to ask for some people. You know what I mean? It's that guilt. And as you're saying, you just have to be willing to ask it, and a true professional will understand why.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly.
Mary Jean, I know you have a very extensive screening process for your people that work for you. I think we should talk about what consumers should look out for, because it is a scary thing having people working in your home.
And I don't want to scare people, but I will say that in our trade specifically, that of the top 5 trades taught in prison today, plumbing, heating, and air are in that group. So you really want to know who's coming into your home. You need to ask the contractor, are you doing the work? Or are you having day labor come in and do the work? Or do you do safety checks on your employees? You need to ask those questions. Don't be intimidated to ask those questions. Very important, men and women.
So do like a quick checklist of things that someone should ask when they're interviewing, just to make sure that, they are covered.
Are you licensed? Do you have workers' comp insurance? Do you have liability insurance? What is the amount of your liability insurance? Because think about it out there. You all know the investments in your home. One small fire.
Right.
Think about, we're soldering as plumbers. We're soldering in a wall where there's insulation and the home's 30 years old. It's dry in there. Make sure they have the coverage if there's a fire.
Ask for proof, because you would be surprised that liability insurance is not required by California state law. I can't imagine a company not carrying liability insurance, but as a consumer, you should ask for proof of insurance, because that is huge that you have that coverage.
All right. What about deposits or the company asking for money up front? What about that?
Well, you really can't ask for more than, is it 10%?
$1,000 or 10%, whichever is the lesser amount.
Let me say something real quick to ask you guys a question now. When you say you can't ask for that, is that a law, or that's what you should be looking for?
Contract, state law.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I stumble over that because we don't ask for anything up front. Absolutely nothing.
Really?
Up front. No.
And that's another
Not at all.
red flag if somebody's asking for a lot of money up front.
Right.
How common is it as a practice for companies that they don't ask for something up front? I don't know.
It's not common. I think most companies try to get a deposit. So
Okay.
that's definitely an asset to not have to put any money down up front. And that's the way the HERO program works too, because as a contractor, you're not paid till the very end, correct?
Correct. Exactly. And HERO's the best. We should talk just a second about that since they're sponsoring the show. What I love about them is that they have the consumer advocacy program, and they check, and I'll give you an example. They'll call our office and say, why is this 14 SEER, the system more expensive? And then we'll explain it's more expensive because we're actually relocating the entire unit to the other end of the home. And so they're checking our prices. And this is, it's an extra protection for homeowners.
It's another set of eyes watching, which is really, it's huge.
It is. And think about what she just said. Okay, so you're here on the air on the Approved Home Pro Show as a HERO approved contractor. All right, there's already a routine to get into that, like there is with the Approved Home Pro Show.
Oh, yeah.
And they're even calling you to make sure, as an approved contractor, that you're on par, and you just explained it. I love that. That's like double security.
Right.
And they really protect seniors too, which is another big benefit of the HERO program.
It is such a huge benefit because seniors are the target for unscrupulous contractors, number one target. And so we need to make sure they're protected. And yes, HERO does do that. And we do as well. I'm not trying to throw a, deal out here for us, but it's so important. I personally had Alzheimer's in my family, so I know that people can get taken advantage of when they're seniors. Very sensitive to seniors. Another reason why I really, really love working with HERO.
And I agree with that because I've got a 96-year-old great-grandmother on my mother's side, on my wife's side, who she had just spent, I think, $9,000 or $10,000 on windows in her house. and this company called up to tell her, oh, no, it's been 6 months. No, there's new developments in Windows and she was about to okay a job until my father-in-law got a hold of the company, called and said, hey, what is this about? She wasn't involved in Hero. Had she been, or say the Approved Home Pro Show, there's a lot less chance of that happening. But real quick, what is your contact info at Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air?
Well, easiest is AndersonPHA.com, and you can book right online there, or you can call us at 800-530-1102. We're there 7 days a week from 7 to 7 and live 24 hours.
So just to recap what we talked about is women should feel empowered. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't feel intimidated. Don't let the contractor speak jargon that you don't understand. Make them break it down in everyday language so you know what you're getting and you feel good about the decision.
Awesome. You got it all. Thank you so much for letting me be here. How fun. And if any customers need anything, I'm there personally. I'd be happy to jump in and help them.
All right. We've got about a minute. I just have to ask again. If you didn't hear earlier, you're going to be in the St. Patty's Day Parade. and what is your float?
We have a 14-foot toilet.
I just love that.
And the best part is that we all stand inside the toilet bowl.
You do not.
And wave. Of course, we walk alongside. I walk alongside, but it's too fun. It's too fun. It really is.
So
Great group of
I
people.
can't make.
The Irish
I'm just
Herbal.
biting my tongue.
Right, of anybody. All right. I love this. All right, well, have fun today. And I know
Thank
you have
you.
to scoot out of here. You're leaving me like a prom date. That's okay. I'm used to it. But go out and have fun. And I love that you represent the community as well. That's really
fun.
cool.
It is. I love San Diego. Can't be in a better town, right?
Well, it means a lot to put your face on your company, so good job.
All right, thank you so much. And stay tuned for more of the Hero Hour on the Approved Home Pro Show.